Good morning. I hope you all are doing well out there today. This morning I want to talk about something that I hope does not offend anybody. You know, back during the elections, I tried real hard to keep my political opinions out of these videos because I didn't want to offend anybody. I would rather that you hear about Christ. Today, what I have to say might be offensive to some. I don't know. But I think it's much more important than politics. When I was younger, I weighed about 45, 50 pounds more than I weigh today. And throughout my adult life, my weight went up and down like a yo-yo. It was easy for me to lose weight. All I had to do was reduce my caloric intake and run. Running was something that was very good to do during the diet because it allowed me to eat with a little bit more flexibility and I could still lose weight by running. But you know what I found the hardest part of running every day to be? The hardest part of running every day was putting my shoes and socks on and getting out the door to run. It wasn't the run itself, it was getting motivated to get out the door and go run. I found that almost any excuse could jump in my way. I get home and a little later than normal. I think, well, it's a little late. I'll just run tomorrow. Or I get home and Kitty has something she wants to do, and I'd say, well, I'll just go with her and I can run tomorrow. And pretty soon an occasion came up where, well, I'll just go with her today, and then tomorrow it's late, so I'll just do it again the next day. And pretty soon I found myself using almost any excuse not to go, and then I would wake up one day and realize it's been 2 weeks and I haven't run at all. We manufacture excuses to do things that we're really not wild about doing, I guess. Well, I believe that the pandemic has given us an excuse to stay home from church. I fully understand if somebody is in poor health, is at high risk, that they don't need to bring themselves into a situation where they could expose themselves to the virus. But I think about my good friend Ron Carlson. The most at-risk person I knew was at the church building every time the doors were open and begging to be able to come back. And Ron didn't catch COVID at the church building. And Ron didn't spread COVID at the church building. Matter of fact, I don't know anybody that has contracted COVID at the church building during these past 10 months. I think the pandemic has scared a lot of people, and I think the pandemic has given us an excuse not to come to church. And what bothers me about this is that I believe many of us are in the habit now of not going to church. I have received news from one or two of our senior at-risk people that they have had the vaccine or they're getting their second vaccine shot and that they'll be back in a week and start worshiping with us again. To me, that's great news. I think about all the people that are out there that are not in the at-risk population, that are still staying away from the worship service. And that bothers me. That scares me because I believe we've just used it as an excuse to stay home and drink coffee and sit in our pajamas and watch worship on TV. You know, that does nothing to strengthen the body. It does nothing to encourage and uplift one another. And I hope all of you that are away from the worship service will think about what I'm saying, because I would love to see you all back in the worship service. This morning I want to read from Hebrews chapter 10. It's a verse that we have read before, but it's a verse that I've put a lot of weight into. Beginning in verse 23. Let us hold unswavering to the hope that we profess. For he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how we can spur one another on towards love and good deeds. Let us not give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but let us encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. You know, one excuse after another, when I was running, it was very easy to get in the habit of just not running anymore. Don't let that happen to worship. You know, this verse says that he who promised is faithful, and he is faithful in everything. And we need to spur one another on to good works and to love. Be safe. Stay well out there.